My name is Carrie, and my stage name is Revolva. I'm going to tell you a story, and I figured it better have an intriguing title. So my story is called Exposing Yourself: How I Went Viral by Saying No to Oprah. As you may have guessed, this story is about exposure, not that kind. It's specifically about the kind of exposure that artists and self-made people, innovators, are often promised in the sense of attention for your work. An event will provide the connecting point between your work and other people under the idea that those people might pay you. I am actually a professional writer, and my connection to Big Ideas Fest is that I have worked for this client that you may have heard of named ISKME. Doing writing. They're pretty cool. In fact, they're so cool that they're cool with the other part of my personality, which is that I am also a professional hula hooper. This is my demo, just to show you what that means. I wear a lot of wigs. Okay, thank you. So that was 50 seconds of what I do, but you can tell that I've been doing it for a long time. Specifically, I've been doing it for 12 years. I get paid to do it. Clients hire me. Just before Thanksgiving, I was contacted by a producer from Oprah's The Life You Want tour. And if you're not familiar with the tour, it's an arena tour. It's like an empowering weekend that came through, and the tickets were priced from $99 in tiers, getting more expensive, leading all the way up to $999. And it featured speakers such as Elizabeth Gilbert, author of Eat, Pray, Love, and Deepak Chopra, awesome holistic health guru. And they called me up, they got my contact information, and asked me to perform, and I didn't do it. And I wrote a blog post about why, and that blog post went viral. So to date, it's been viewed over 304,000 times, and it's maybe 2.5, 3 weeks old. How many people would like to hear an excerpt of this letter that went so crazy? Okay, so this is an open letter to Oprah Winfrey, whose The Life You Want tour asked me to perform for free. Dear Oprah, no way. I could not believe it when a producer from Harpo Studios got in touch last week asking if I could perform at your The Life You Want San Jose tour stop. I mean, Oprah Winfrey, I have always wanted to hear "Welcome, Revolva," as I cartwheeled on stage to tell you my life story, the profundity of all my lingering student loan debt causing you to weep, and declare to America that I am your new best friend. Sorry, Gail. And the title of your tour, The Life You Want, hello. As a performer, writer, and activist, I've spent 12 years taking a million chances to live in line with my spirit as opposed to our toxic culture. Your producer was totally calling to add me to your list of trailblazers, including Deepak Chopra and Elizabeth Gilbert, right? But Oprah, you are a wise woman. I should have known that in the phone call with your producer, there was a deep spiritual lesson in store for me. Here is our paraphrased conversation. Producer, your stuff sounds great. Are you interested? Me, hell yes, Oprah, Oprah. Producer, okay, so just to be clear, you'd be on a stage outside the event, and just to be clear, Oprah will not be at that stage. And just to be clear, we don't have a budget, it's not paid. Okay, I have to admit that I was initially heartbroken that my name would not be bellowed with 800 extra vowel sounds. Fortunately, my heartbreak was soon short-circuited by the stroke I had when I realized your tour, with its tickets starting at $99 for the homeless, middling out at $599 for fast food employees, and rocketing to $999 for 90s rappers, would be ringing up professional performers and asking them to do their job for no pay. The following image summarizes the situation. In one day, your arena tour, capacity around 18,000, this was in the SAP Center in San Jose. Each ticket, $99 to $999, is raking in more money than most people will make in a year, in 10 years, in their entire lives. And yet your side stage featuring local acts is paying in that old tap-dancing phantom promise of exposure. If any less beloved billionaire, the Koch brothers or Mark Zuckerberg, for example, had called up Bay Area residents and asked them for free work, the response would be this. You're clapping because it's true. Okay, so maybe it's because my car broke down and I'm struggling. Maybe it's because I've been doing this for 12 years, and after all the requests for free or discount work, the one by a billionaire's tour was the straw that broke my back. But I thought it through, and achieving the quote-unquote life you want is not always easy. The risks we have to take to transform this culture into something more nurturing sometimes involve looking at the way things are and saying, hey, wait, that's not cool. Even if we have to say that to Oprah Winfrey. As a totally meta experience, your tour taught me that achieving the life you want might even involve holding the life you want tour to its own mantra. So I asked if y'all could come up with a fair wage. Asking that question caused your producer to go silent for 24 hours, and then email back that she would contact me in the future at an event with a larger budget. I love your work, Oprah. I think you would have loved mine too. But in the spirit of your own event, the life I want does not involve mega tours netting unfathomable amounts of real, tangible money, while local artists are coached to accept all or most of our payment in the least stable form of currency, exposure. If the trailblazing I do today is being an upstream voice, then I'll at least make a bold statement about the life I do want. I want a life in which people are not asked to work for free by people who can afford to pay. Thank you. And to be fair, because maybe she didn't know, if you didn't realize your tour with its wealthy speakers, billionaires and millionaires, and its $99 to $999 tickets was asking for a free service from local acts, is there something you can do to make it right? On behalf of the artists of the world, that's a question I'll leave you with, Oprah. I'd like to believe that as compassionate and generous as you appear to be, as a self-made woman who's been here, the life you want involves people being able to pay their rent. I still hope to one day rock a stage with you. I'll just have to keep my cartwheel fantasy fresh for a tour that fully enfolds artists under its own title. Love, Revolva. Okay, so I have to preface this by saying that I wrote that, it got my emotions out, and I posted it on my blog and then linked it to my own Facebook page and my own Twitter page. Those are the only places that I posted it. The letter went viral. Within 12 hours of posting it, it had topped Reddit's entertainment page, and heavy traffic had caused my website to crash twice. I had to upgrade my hosting twice in the first 12 hours. Within 24 hours, I love the headlines that they used here. Within 24 hours of posting it, I had been featured on national news site Jezebel, Bold Italic, Daily Caller, and Madame Noir. And within 48 hours, I went live on air with TMZ from my kitchen.
Joining us right now. Hey, Revolva.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Again, wearing a wig.
If someone was doing a bar show and they asked you to come do it and they were only going to make $100, then do you still expect to get paid? Like, is it strictly philosophical, or is it just because Oprah is rolling in piles of money like right now?
I think getting back to the reason why this went viral is the larger issue that's being raised that people are talking about, which is getting paid for your work.
I cut this part off, but they introduced me by saying, and now here's a woman who's extremely pissed off at Oprah Winfrey. And that's, it's gossip TV. And I tried to stick to the point, which is what I said, people getting paid for their work. So, this might, on the surface, which I think is why TMZ got in touch, it might seem to be a story of David versus Goliath, if David were some crazy hula hooper and Goliath were literally the most beloved person in America. How many people have a fantasy that you're on TV with Oprah Winfrey? Everybody, okay. How many people have a fantasy that you're on national TV pitted against Oprah Winfrey as her antagonist? Because it's actually a little bit scary. So it might seem to be that David and Goliath story, but the truth is that I think it got attention because there's this kind of exposure that's promised to people when events say, let me be your doorway. Like, do you want fans? You want people to pay attention to your work? You want customers? You want people to look at you? Come through me. I won't pay you to do your work, but hopefully you can find the people that will. The thing is, after having done this for 12 years, and I think this resonated with a lot of other people who have been in this situation, you might benefit from that exposure. Someone might see Oprah's name on your resume or another big client and then decide that they trust you to hire you, or someone might see you at the show, or they might not. There's no way to quantify what the result of doing free work will be. You just don't know. What you can quantify is that you need to support yourself and pay your rent today. So it's kind of hard to take that gamble. And people keep asking if Oprah responded. How many people were curious about that? Yeah. Okay, well, the answer to that is no. But do you know who did respond to this? A lot of the 304,000 people who read it. I'm still getting thank you letters from other people who are in this situation for being a surprised voice on mainstream media expressing an essential truth of people's lives, which is that we can't continue to put creative work into the world if we cannot simultaneously survive. Here's some of the comments. As a creative in graphic design where people routinely solicit free or drastically underpaid work, I may borrow this letter to explain in better terms why I don't support giving away one's talents. Thank you for writing this, and I hope it goes insanely viral. We live in a society where you are not safe if you don't have money, yet we are asked to live without it all the time. I write to you from Sweden, and thanks to your letter, I know that you exist. As you can see, it's not necessary to work for free to promote your work. So some of these notes, I've gotten so many notes, letters from people in private messages and comments on Facebook and on my blog, and a lot of them have made me cry. Like, it's really, this is probably the most touching, encouraging thing that's ever happened to me. So to tie it back into the conference, here are 3 key things that I learned from this experience. Number 1, support can happen horizontally. So what I mean by that is by avoiding a $0 payment in this top-down typical way and writing about why, people who enjoyed the blog bit by bit in a tip jar that I added at the end of it because people were messaging me privately and saying, your car broke down, can I help you? I really like this, can I help you? Can I PayPal you something? I added a tip jar to the end of it, and $5 here, $10 there, some people gave $100, some people gave $50. I was able to raise over $2,500 toward a new car, and a used car, but that helped me out a lot, and it felt really good that actually the exposure came for an idea that was important, that actually changed people's lives. And in a time where I was too pinched to drive my rental car an hour and pay for arena parking and do work for free, by me posting something on my blog, I even had a financial benefit that was more than doing this thing that wasn't going to make me feel comfortable. And in that sense, the second thing that I learned is that we can create our own exposure. Everyone is a public person now. We all have the internet, or many people do, some people don't. But I was seen by hundreds of thousands of people in terms of that blog post. If we can internalize that we all have a doorway to the whole world in our back pocket, in our phones, on our laptop, maybe we can create alternate routes of support for our big ideas, right? And the third thing that I learned is that it makes a difference, to quote Maggie Kuhn, it makes a difference to speak your mind even if your voice shakes. The most heartening thing about this whole experience has been the connections that I've made with other artists. A lot of important discussions are happening right now, and the unexpected path is the path that leads toward change.
We're all fighting a battle, we're singing the same song, trying to find someone who cares as much as we do. We're all climbing the ladder,